When it comes time to approve units, you can still approve what changes.
Yeah, I thought we still changes now.
Yeah.
Okay, let me just pull up my template for tonight. Here, right?
And that's what we're here. It's-
Pretty close.
You can still approve.
Pretty close.
Most people.
6-3. Secretary, just a little bit of time. Like you do.
All right.
How are you?
Very quiet.
First, right?
You know, boy, you could never hear. He is silent.
You want to start? All right. Yeah, it's 6:30. We'll call our 6:30 meeting to order. Thank everybody for coming. Just one reminder that this is being recorded, so you don't want to be, you did somebody here, you don't say it. We start with the roll call members.
Okay, Greg McManaway.
Present.
Chester Goode.
Here.
Will Samuelson.
Present.
John Miller.
Present.
Dan Osborne.
Present.
Bob Cooper. Here. Right, and we're missing Andy and Wayne.
Also with us is Mr. Gorski, the building commissioner. You don't want to rise and reflect today.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Everybody had a chance to look over the minute. Number 17. Pretty found a mistake in the minutes.
You can still sign, you can still sign off and approve those. And
And I will restate those.
So, entertain motion to approve minutes.
So move.
Second. I have first and second. Any discussions? All in favor? Understand?
Aye.
Any opposed? And our first case is the 2023-P016. Application is filed by Special Order or police piece for the Venetian Village. We find it's lot 38, with 1/2 of lot 39, Venetian Village property. That's the third section down just. I want the description. Go ahead and present it.
Evening, gentlemen. I'm Bernie Feeney with White and Associates. Purpose of this plat is to combine the small parcels of land that the owner possesses out there so that the entire piece of property can be developed. The house can be added on to. That's pretty much it as far as everything goes here. It's a standard recombination of parcels of land for these folks. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
It is an empty lot, half lot.
The half lot is an empty lot, yes. The lot 38 does have the existing house on it.
Have any questions?
Are there any other structures on that part of 39?
It's 39 Venetian Village. There's another house on the other half,
But not on this half. That's
not on the half
So there's
that
no
we're putting
structures
together
on
here.
there. Okay, just want to make sure I had that right here.
Is 39 Venetian Village? It's 38 Venetian Village plus half of 39.
Combines the A-frame that's on the front.
Right, exactly.
Wow. You could give you some rent.
I will be very careful. Didn't have time to change your clothes.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
There's my thoughts.
That they claim. Any other comments, questions? I have any comments from the public on this?
One person online also.
Nobody online?
There is one person online.
Aye. They can't hear me if they have any questions or comments about this. Yes, sir. If not, anybody else have anything? I entertain a motion. Come on. Replan. Second. 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 Any discussion? If not, in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.
People look through those findings.
Yes.
Oh, for the go for replan.
Yes.
We normally never did that, but we will just for.
I recommend it for now and then. We've been following that. If we get through everything else at the end of the meeting, I've got some thoughts to share. Some other things that we can do to make it easier.
All right, I'm gonna quickly go through the. Everybody pretty well voted for it, so if anybody wants to disagree of anything, then have it on record. But, commission shall determine if the plat conforms to principal standards required by subdivision regulations. Either agree or disagree. Due regard shall be shown to all natural features such as tree growth, water course, resource spots, similar conditions with preserved will add attractiveness and value to the proposed development. Either agree or disagree. Due consideration shall be given to the prevention of air and stream pollution, proper treatment and disposal of refuse, other waste, and elimination of other blighting parasites. Agree or disagree. And fourth, if the subdivision layout shall be such character that it affects public health, safety, and general welfare of town Culver and threats. And either agree or disagree.
Do I think you told me we didn't need to do it, like, you think for a
The
replat?
last two should be active in.
Okay.
We also don't have to worry about the last two rows.
So the first three, just so nobody disagrees.
The first three are the key words on this.
Yeah, first three is keyword.
Five's definitely not applicable.
Yeah. If nobody disagrees, we leave the vote as it stands.
That's true, that was the next one. That's for the next one. It's in.
We're going to sign this one, Gary? We're going to sign this one.
Piece of community, right? We're gonna do one all the road mapping. That's not this one.
Right.
Yeah, that's one. That's the one, yeah, that's the one, yes, that's the one. Right, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Kevin.
We're ready. Everybody ready? Case number 2023-P017, application been filed by Ryan Kavinsky, I'm going to pronounce that right, to approve a replat of 1140 South Creek Culver, Indiana. North one half of lot number 3, all of number 4, south one half of lot number 5 in Medborn and Phillips region, down Sullivan. That's you. You want to read? Present what you got, your chair.
Basically, they're just wanting to combine all 4 lots on that.
Give your name and
I'm sorry, Chad Leap Skyline Builders. They're just wanting to combine all 4 lots into one. Currently, it's one parcel for tax purposes, but it's still divided as 4 lots.
Rural free for Joel Forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why do you think you do that?
yeah, you just.
Can you spell your last name for me?
We, LEAP.
Thanks.
You're actually adding boundary.
Cleaning up the lot lines.
Oh, yeah.
Well, as you know, the railroad went right in front of there, so there was that whole issue with, when all that became the property owners, there's all these fractured lots. So they have this extra lot.
That's good that they're around the lake too, section around from the lake. It's nuts out of it.
I know.
It's great. But definitely, you're doing away with a whole lot of non-conforming lots and plus the house being on 2 lots.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus. Is that GIS a little messed up, but you got the house already there, but not moving the house.
Yeah, the house actually, yeah, correct. It's going to be a new house.
So we're not gonna have it on the property line.
Right.
That.
Right.
Just being removed is really all I need to know.
Sure.
Anybody else have any comments?
Everybody online, yes? Online?
Anybody else out here first? Have any comments? Anybody online? Thanks. All right. Go through the first 3. In the back, the top one. It just be the first 3 again. That's all I look at. And Commission shall determine that the plat conforms to principles and standards required by the subdivision regulations. We can go through. Each member. So, don't have to, yeah, it's agree or disagree. If you do disagree, let me know. Secondly, due regard shall be shown for all natural features such as tree growth, water course, historic spots, or similar conditions which preserved will add attractiveness and value to proposed developments. Agree or disagree? Due consideration shall be given to prevention of air, stream pollution, proper treatment, disposal of refuse and other waste, elimination of other blighting characteristics. Agree, disagree? Nobody disagrees. I'll then make a motion either way.
Motion to go ahead and approve the replatting of 1140 South Street.
First, second, need a second? Not. There's the crew. The same night. You opposed at the same time? Right. You both at the time?
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. We gotta keep something for record. I need to record that, right, or no? Does that need recorded, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was gonna keep one for the record.
You?
Get it, sir? Case number 2023-FP018. And the application is filed by Jeffrey Containing 730 Victor Drive. Replat these parcels.
Gentlemen, again, I'm Bernie Feeney, Whiteman Associates. This is another combination of parcels involving pieces on both sides of the road. So the Strummins can consolidate their holdings out there. Their property is located, as I said, on both sides of West Shore. And this is apparently necessary for permitting in this particular instance. So, thank you.
And again, I'm assuming any structure on it.
There are structures on there. Bear with me for one moment. There is a rather boxy looking house and floor plan, but the roof line is very different. that exists in line with most of the other houses out there, and setback from the lake. The property is currently 3 separate and individual parcels of land that will be combined into one with this replat.
Directly across the street from the house already, part of that same parcel with the house,
Some of it is, but not all of it.
but the backside is what you're at.
Right.
There are no structures on
Not across the
that
street.
west side.
Just the way the GIS looks, it looks like there's some concrete laid down. Is
Either
it-
concrete or gravel.
Okay. So is it overflow for them or was it neighbors at one point before?
It is, what's happening is that property is or they are acquiring a little more property with the potential for possibly building a garage over there.
Okay.
But in this particular instance, it currently is used for cars on weekends, I would assume.
Okay. I wasn't sure because it looks like it almost attaches to the neighbor's garage. That's why I wasn't sure if both used it and just communal gravel overflow.
That's mainly, I haven't been out there myself, but based on what the guys have told me that I sent out there,
You're doing it. That you wouldn't be able to put a garage in this side, but wouldn't combine. So you're-
Right.
Did you say this is 3 parcels or 2?
3 total.
Okay.
It's two parcels, right? It's
Well, 2 now, but they are acquiring an additional piece.
2 parcels, and then when they get the
I
back
see.
part of their, just one.
Got it. Okay.
So with the one part's already combined. Sure.
Oh, I see.
We're just-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're just adding on across
Okay.
there.
And I think it's part of an old railroad roadbed that goes through there. Or perhaps relocated roadway.
I want to.
Talked about dreams of turkey.
Anybody? Anybody in the audience have anything on this comment? I online.
I have a question, Gary. The lot that's across the road from the lakeside. Is there a structure on that now?
No,
Oh, there isn't.
no.
Oh, okay.
Concrete to use up that is actually on that they already have.
It's just the way it butts up to that garage is what I wasn't sure.
Right, but that means they already have this. Part, that part. Right here, but that-
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's creative.
So let the discussion. Go to the findings of facts. Again, if you disagree, just let us know. Commission shall determine if facts form the principles and standards required by subdivision regulation, either agree or disagree. Due regard shall be shown to all natural features such as tree growth, water course, historic spots, or similar conditions which the reserve will add attractiveness, value to the proposed development. Agree or disagree. Due consideration shall be given to the prevention of air, stream pollution, proper treatment and disposal of refuse and other waste, and elimination of other blighting characteristics. Either agree or disagree. filed by February. So at this point, for discussion, entertain a motion.
Motion, we go ahead and approve the replatting at 730 West Shore Drive.
First and second. All approved. Say aye. 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 Any opposed, same sign. PRC review. Got copies in minutes. Nope. We can have a couple of minutes from the PRC. PRC.
I don't have past minutes.
Okay. Do, is there anything on that? Give you a heads up.
On the TRC? We have to think about, we have one case.
I think one case.
Or we have the remodel with, they're tearing,
Right.
they're tear down garage and add a garage onto the house, all within setbacks at, I want to say 1160 East Shore was where it was at.
And, I don't want to quote it on it, but anyway.
So that went through, it was pretty
Yeah.
straightforward since there wasn't any kind
Yeah.
of variances required on it. And it was going underneath a renovation permit.
It's just a permit review for the planning commission, but not a PRC meeting. They are a review committee, but all findings were up to conform. Old business or new business?
I think we have one member out in the audience that would like to speak.
Oh, I thought there was public comment then.
This is,
This is,
citizen input. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Okay, so I'll take care of old business
Okay,
and new business and my report all at the same time,
all right.
if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
If nobody else has any other new business, whatever, I'll go ahead and turn it over to business.
I got one issue on right.
Okay,
We can just, where you want me to go?
now go ahead. I'd rather get you.
Yeah, I would just say I was stunned, dumbfounded to see a stop work order on the property next to mine for it never having taken out a building permit.
There's multiple reasons, no building permit, it's no variances and it's not within the setbacks.
And we had the
Stuff
site plan.
started. There's some issues going on there that we'll have to work through.
This, I mean, and it makes me wonder about the other properties that are being renovated, including one at the corner of Academy and Lake Shore. I've driven by there multiple times. I don't see.
I was asking about.
But when he has a building permit, it's, the siding's exposed now,
Okay.
the siding, and is that the one?
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
actually,
they have a building permit.
actually built the new garage on the end as well.
yeah.
That one's got a building.
And I was assuming that, I was gonna ask you about that. You pass by it every day, so I can't believe it. It's been overlooked.
House that you're referring to is 303.
Three North Shore Lane. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're gonna be stopped probably for a while. Because also the poured foundation
Uh-huh.
without footers
And
being
no
inspected.
further inspection,
So there's a list of problems there.
and that garage measured out, I think 30, it's right at 30 feet by
A rebar.
30
They
feet.
tore the house down and we're going to use part of the existing foundation. And they just went ahead and started doing work when they shouldn't have.
They were requesting for 5 more feet from the original footer. But they had no site plans, no floor plans, no,
I request something. You can point at something.
yeah.
That's Yeah,
I mean,
They were hoping they could probably get it done before anybody noticed. Ooh,
I don't like to speak for anybody else, but it definitely was.
Yeah.
it's next door to mine.
I was actually shocked at that myself.
What is the, what's the remedy for not having the photos inspected before they pour it?
Fair enough.
But potentially because because of the zoning or the variances and not having the inspection, there's a potential it'd have to be poured back out. The building inspector ultimately could make a determination on the footings afterwards. Spoke with him.
Are there applicable fines?
Yes, there are. Our typical fine for a case like this in our ordinance is 3 times the original building permit cost. They triple the cost.
That being looked at? I'll leave it open for you being looked at. First.
There's a lot being looked at there.
Okay.
It's gonna take some time now.
Okay, now that's really what I get at, so I didn't wanna.
So, yeah, there's a lot of problems.
Yeah. Yeah, I went out and measured. Sure, the same thing. All right, any other old business or new business from any of the commission members?
The meeting schedule.
Okay, I think we will, but I think we're gonna combine all this with
Well, actually, that's probably a good time. A good time for that. We might have a question on this solar panel.
well, we're gonna get to that.
I'll be speaking on that when it gets to my report. Okay.
We're just combining them all with the
Oh, wait.
commission reports that he's the one.
I would recommend under new business that you look at and ask for approval for next year's meeting schedule. Basically the same schedule we've been on.
The only question I have on that, May 16th is a Thursday. Is that on purpose?
No,
But should be May 14th then?
yes,
Actually, it would be the.
It's just schedule, showing, I mean, it's still gonna be the third Tuesday of each month.
Mine says me. Yeah, mine says. Yeah, May 16th is a Thursday. So it should be the 21st.
so I'll make those corrections, but
Anyway, noting that we have it.
I'll make those corrections. Or I did vote for BZA in this same time.
Basically, observing the same days as you make this request.
Yes. Yeah, you can do that too. And remaining on the same schedule.
Notice that that is supposed to be the May 21st.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve Thursday, same days.
Second.
Third Thursday, for the third Thursday,
motion.
6:30
To approve.
Or Tuesday,
for Tuesday, Saturday.
or Tuesday.
And
Third Tuesday.
They don't confuse us with the DZA. We don't have the same meeting at the same time, right?
I got a first on the floor. Got a
Second.
motion for it. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? For the being name. Yeah, I find that. Okay, that's out of the way. So, Mr. Gorky, it's up to you then, as far as what you want to bring to the company.
They have a little bit of a list. So I'll try to cover everything. So first of all, building ordinance. I'm updating our building ordinance, which has to be updated before I can update our zoning ordinances, because our zoning ordinance references our building ordinance. Excuse me, our building ordinance has been updated or revised as far as I can tell since at least 2009. A lot of things wrong with that, so I'm working on that. For the solar committee,
intentionally kind of holding off right now. The county's working on their solar plan. It's got a air solar ordinance. It's got a lot of attention. Quite turn out, I did leave BZA meeting early last week so I could go attend that to hear what was going on with that. So they voted down a moratorium, and the technical review committee is working on a couple of revisions recommended by the plan commission. So at the next plan commission meeting, they'll have a revised version of their solar ordinance, and their ordinance is strictly that they're working on now for the solar panels and does not have anything about the large scale batteries, the storage units for the electricity. A lot of people at that meeting, several attorneys speaking at that meeting, representing different groups. I think it's best for us to wait and see how that plays out, especially from a legal perspective, because I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some lawsuits that go on after a decision was made on this. A lot of concern there. So if everyone's okay with it, I'd just like to hold off for another month or two and kind of see how the county's ordinance plays out. Both the ordinance itself and then the reactions afterwards.
We have a committee though, as far as to this stuff as well.
We have plans for a committee.
Volunteer.
We do.
Okay.
We haven't officially met as committee.
You haven't met yet. But I mean, I don't know
That was in last month's minutes.
yeah.
So that's where that stands right now.
When do we meet?
We're gonna hold off for at least a month until we can see what how the counties is working out with their ordinance. I'm more concerned on a legal perspective. I want to make sure when we do it and have a final ordinance that we don't run into any problems that potentially the county's going to run into, meaning lawsuits.
Isn't but our committee is not just looking at what the county does, though, are they? I mean, we're looking at other things as far as.
We're going to ultimately, the goal of our committee is to draft a solar ordinance for Culver and Culver zoning
Right, but
district.
I mean, I know it's there's research that needs to be done as well for our committee.
There is, and some of the research right now is very in depth. In fact, I've been going over some of the Indiana codes right now regarding that. The Indiana state codes have to be the foundation for everything we do.
Exactly.
So I'm going over those. It's going to take a lot of time, and I'll be able to. We have a committee meeting. I'll be able to break that down for the committee members.
Yeah, I do want to try and avoid a long meeting for a committee meeting, but I don't want to stall to the point that we just go with what Marshall County does.
We've got. So what Marshall County's ordinance is right now is very typical for ordinances, not just in Indiana, but in multiple states. I've been looking at ordinances. Again, we have to make sure the foundation of our ordinances are based on the Indiana state code where that's at right now.
And I also want to look at the fact that it's got a fifth Culver, not just Marshall County.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So that's my concern.
So,
I don't want to delay anything.
but we've got a 2-year moratorium and already 6 months, I think, and we haven't done anything. We gotta get moving on this thing so we don't run out of time. And we haven't done anything yet.
It's gonna take.
Agreed. It was last meeting when we had decided to form a committee, our last meeting. Right now, I'm still putting some things together for the benefit of the team committee, but we also need to be paying attention from a legal standpoint, what's happening with the county ordinance, which again is not for Culver, but we still are going to be using a lot of the same things because it's mandated by state law.
So we're gonna have precedence over what Marshall County does within our zoning
We
district.
absolutely do.
Okay. We're not
We
getting.
absolutely
But
do.
we're just gonna use them as a guideline to maybe formulate what we want. Is that what you're saying?
That's
Or
what,
not necessarily,
Not necessarily, but.
we're good.
not necessarily, but it's a
We're gonna take-
guide, so we're just take what they do and then we'll figure out what we wanna do.
Yeah,
So what you're saying is we need to see where they're coming from before we proceed to where we want to be.
I think it makes sense to see what they're challenged on.
Right, yeah. See,
Right,
yeah, let them do all
I
the,
don't want to.
let them do all the legwork and then we'll come in and finalize
I
it.
don't want to wait on their decision.
Right, I understand.
And
Yeah,
that's really what I'm
understand.
really concerned with. I know in the past, in the last
Yeah.
20 years, I mean, it seemed like.
You can't wait on other people. You gotta be
You can't wait on other
proactive.
I
You gotta be
understand your
proactive.
concerns. I have a lot of information gathered already. I have multiple copies of solar and
Right.
large scale battery storage ordinances. Uh,
Right, I still, yeah,
Again,
exactly, yeah, right here.
See what happens from a legal
Let them
perspective.
peel back the layers on the county level and then we'll.
All the ordinances have a lot of similarities because they are based in
We should.
state
The
code.
writing of the ordinances are very important because you don't want to create too much ambiguity. Because
Right now, we have
at the
We
same
need
time,
time to.
I
look
do
at
not
these
want to address the public when they come in here without having answers. I mean, that causes a whole lot more confusion, it causes a lot more,
Hence, we need to make sure we understand the state codes first.
right,
The point is, it's getting looked into.
by,
By me, for
and
call.
by you. Yeah,
And I have information on the parts that have to be there. And we have that, then we can base it. Right now, I can tell you for large scale battery, the state codes are very clear and they cover a lot. Strict, if you will. The only allowance we'll probably have on that is where we get, because we're in Culver and we have our 2 mile zone, and we do get say so on where. You start reading the state codes, it's not what a lot of people out there.
What's got to be true, you think.
Yeah.
Information.
There is.
that's my worry, I don't want to put it on one man.
Well, that's the problem.
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Together probably couldn't cover that at once.
And when we do draft an ordinance, then we're still gonna need to turn it over to our town attorneys.
Yeah.
For review, so that they can go back over and make sure that we comply with the state codes. It's not just the state codes too, but state codes when they get challenged. We also need a legal perspective on it when any law gets challenged and it gets ruled on. And we have to know what those other rulings are also. That's where the legal people and lawyers will come in to help us also.
Yeah.
Because somebody's gonna have to interpret, which the courts have. And I don't know where to begin to look that up. The courts have interpreted the laws already, and so we have to not just act on the laws, but the court's interpretations of the laws also.
But I mean, I'm under this, I mean, when we get that far, we probably will request legal counsel to be at these meetings, but what, so.
So I'm not, it hasn't died. It's still alive, it's still on my mind on a regular basis. Right?
For everybody that's part of that group that's looking into it, you're doing a lot of work right now, but is it possible to start like an email chain where you can email us updates of like when the county's having their meetings so we can.
I absolutely will.
Sitting- Yeah.
Give me till next week, I'll start next week.
Perfect.
I'll tell you what I've got going on, I'll give you updates on everything.
Awesome, that'd be great.
Just that way you're not,
Oh,
you
no,
can trickle us in on it.
Yes.
oh, no, fair enough, very good.
People come in here, they're informed as it goes, yes.
Okay. Moving on to next month, we have one hearing so far, and it's not a replat hearing, it's gonna be a hearing regarding. I can't, I'd have to go back and look, it's something that I'm not sure I can understand yet. And I haven't seen everything, I'm not sure the legal notice was published, which is being done by a third party. But I'll have more information when I get it between now and next month, I'll send that to you all too. But I'm not sure I understand it at this point, but I know it's something the plan commission's gonna have to approve. Follow-up class, some questions were asked about Hawk Lake. I think I answered a lot of those at the last meeting. But ultimately, the question was, that I recall, the question would have been, do they need to move their structure? The answer is we can order that, but if they're not around when I can catch up to them and I get a hold of them, I can tell them they need to move the structure. I suspect where they put their utilities in for electric, is probably placed in the wrong place. So when they go to build their house, might be a better time for them to move that. Yes. I think it'd be more of a fair time, but the storage shed, a mini storage shed barn on their property should be moved. So that was a question I think you were asking, Barry. Also, another note on replats. So Indiana code would allow, going back up. No, sorry, the Indiana code would allow you to appoint me to just be administratively approve replats, like the 3 we had tonight, where they wouldn't have to come before this board. That would be up to you all if you want to do that or not. So Marshall County under the bus or into it again, but Marshall County does that. They're all handled administratively. I don't know. I have to look back through our ordinances if it specifically says it has to come through this group or not. But Indiana code would allow for the replat portion to be done administratively, and you could have me do that too. So it's just something for you all to consider.
Normally, I would probably jump on that, but I know there's cases that we look at that I would prefer that the planning commission actually see those as well. But in the future, we will look at that because I think there's cases that would be.
But if we
easily.
I think I could say all of you want.
Right, I think someone would, yeah.
But we ever disapproved one.
Yes, approved one, but it's been years ago, due to the fact that it was another thing on housing. As far as somebody else house on the same property, that would have to be fixed before it could be combined or another property. Like, I couldn't favor that.
So it's something else. So if
It's something.
if it's something you all decided you wanted me to do, then I would certainly weigh anything questionable. I could then bring it before the planning commission. But again, you know, you're all volunteers, you all have lives.
Right.
Appreciate that. If we can save you time.
Yeah.
I'd be happy.
We
to do
appreciate that too. Don't want to put more on your plate either.
I can handle it. I can handle it. Those are all my updates right now. Unless anybody has any questions for me.
Anybody have any more questions? Looks like you're trying to think of something.
Oh, yeah, my email.
Yeah. Anybody else? Says him. Oh, go ahead.
Just real quick, can we get that second replat signed?
Oh, would you want that done?
If we could.
So we can go home? Is that right?
Sure.
Not entertaining, Bernie. Actually, Steve, I do have a question.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of, talk about the Dunes project and everything and what's going on with that and what the town council is approving or doing what they're doing on their end. Are there issues with that project? They're going to come in front of us, the planning commission.
We have a Dunes expert in finance.
I haven't know the answer to that question.
Because we're totally left in the dark about this whole thing. And I'm like, I would think that there would be some point that they would have to come in front of us. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know that. But that was my question to you. And
So I'm Martin.
if Marty can answer that, then I'll leave it up to him to answer that question.
I'm the leader of the CRC, Culver Redevelopment Commission, and we are trying to get a firm answer on that question. What we've done is we've got a planning calendar together, which is mostly, and it's available online. There's a link on the top website that has FAQs related to the projects. And it does include a planning calendar that says this goes before town council here. this comes before Plan Commission here, this goes before the Economic Development Committee here, right? And we actually are just updating those dates. One question that we had was, does it have to go through the TRC? Does it have to go to plan? Does it have to go to BZA?
Right.
And the way that it's laid out is what they would like to do is a condo type of approach. So only have 3 lots and then build homes. And it's a condo development, even though there's standalone housing. And so they do not have to, since there's not separate lots, there's not setbacks, right? Setback requirements between the houses. And they'd like to go as close as, I think, they did that at Centennial Crossing in Plymouth, I think eve to eve, they get as close as like 16 feet. It's still far enough away to get emergency equipment through, but closer, higher density than.
How does that change, Marty, from a PUD as far as, I mean, what this development, where does it fall under development under our?
Yeah, so that's, again, we're trying to get the answer to that question. So we actually turned to the attorney who was against us on 415 Lakeshore, who really understands our code, obviously, right? And we asked him the question. He happens to be the attorney for the developer as well. And
Snyder?
Yes, Snyder. So he came back and said that, they would have to apply for, I think it was a minor subdivision.
My understanding is they want to break it into 3 lots.
3 lots.
Which is a minor subdivision. Anything over 3 is a major subdivision. So if that's the case, that would at least come to this board.
And Jim Clevenger doesn't,
reply.
he doesn't think that's necessarily all that needs to be done. So he's doing some more work to see
I agree with
if there's some variance requirements that need to be talked about in addition to the subdivision. So it's an open question. We're working it as hard as we can to get the answer, but we just don't have it for you yet.
Okay. Kind of another question along those lines. Is it
Yes.
going to very much mimic Centennial Crossing? It's going to be the same developers and stuff. So it's actually going to be 4 building types, right? Apartments, condos, townhouses, and then like a retirement, like multi-unit, indoor, connected.
Yeah, there's 20 senior living units out of the 300 front doors, 20 of them are senior.
So would the houses that are standing alone eve to eve and the townhomes that are side by side going to be considered in the same plat then? Or
Yeah, no, I don't think so. They need to separate the so-called commercial from the residential.
Okay.
And because there's actually, if the project goes forward, there would be a residential tax increment financing district and a commercial tax increment financing district in the same properties.
As we're talking about.
The same development, I should say.
As well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of questions.
I have the plans I should have brought for you.
I've seen some of the plans.
Yeah, we haven't seen it.
And I'm probably the only one here, well, I think.
They're on the town website.
Yeah, I think I've got even more detail
Yeah.
than what's on the town website.
Yeah, I just didn't understand. I mean, I saw the footprint or where some of the townhouses or whatever they would fit. And I noticed they had separated. Some of them were only 16 feet, some of them were 24 feet. And I didn't understand where they come up with an ordinance strictly call for a certain setback, but for them to vary between here, all the way around as far as drawing it out. And I was concerned whether this is what's being actually presented to town council, and this is what town council is looking at. So I didn't know where they came up with their drawings according to
And
what.
town council is not going to approve the site.
No.
What the town council is looking at is the bond ordinance, whether or not we're going to issue bonds to finance the infrastructure for the project. That's what the town council.
More involved than what you realize.
Oh,
There is,
I know that.
it's a great deal
Because
going.
of the infrastructure and everything. I mean, we sit and talk all night about that.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about all that. I just know as far as if it's being looked at a new design, as far as I know what they did at Plymouth, but as far as our ordinance is calling for certain setbacks, I mean, is this a project that is not gonna look at that? They only look at whatever they did.
I think the only variances are the eve to eve. I think that they were writing into the development agreement that they have to abide by the complete streets policy and they'll be set back from the street 25 feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the eve to eve is the only, and Joel, you've seen some technical crossing. It will look a lot. Like
Yeah, I've been, yeah. That was my concern too. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Any idea what this would be costing the town? For tax
Well,
amount?
it's not that the tax revenue from the project will pay for the bonds that are funding the investment in the infrastructure. Plus some ready grant, $1 million for even ready grants. So I answer that question that way because it would be misleading to say that the CRC is paying for this or the town is paying for this. The taxpayers that will occupy the homes and the apartments will pay for it.
As long as there's no public funds using for private enterprise.
One more questions for Marty. Everyone. Next commission members' concerns and input. If they have any concerns, no input, vote anything passed, concerns?
Did we pass by citizen input?
Yeah. Well,
We come back to it when the commissioners are done with their input.
well, do you have more citizen input other than?
Yes, I do.
Oh, okay.
Matter of fact, I do.
Okay. Well, that real reason you're right.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm here, right? So, Marty Osterbaum, I live at 504 East Washington Street. I think I'm gonna add in, you were talking about the solar thing earlier. And one of the things that we've been working on is the comprehensive plan rewrite, which is eventually going to get to you once it finally gets written. Kevin and I have both been members of that team working on it. And one of the things that will be coming to you is recommendation that this 2-mile zoning actually be an actual 2 miles, right, all the way around. It's not today. And if you're going to do a solar, ordinance and you want it to impact the greater Culver area, you should probably think about working with the county to get that full 2 miles so it can be as impactful as you probably want it to be.
We had adjusted that 2-mile line in the past. I know it's Lake Ag or whatever you want to call it, due to property lines being fixed match. We're trying to avoid having a line in the property that the county run in Culver.
Yep.
And so
I
we're
think
going to get
the county would be open to it, based on an initial conversation I had with Diane Lee. So the real reason I'm here is because I'm Dutch and I'm cheap and I'm thinking about coming to you next month for a replat. And I just want to kind of lay it out, ask you for some initial feedback before I pay for a survey. I want to make sure that, that there's not oh, hell no, right? So I've got property at the end of Washington Street that has some lake project. And it's divided by path that connects Washington Street, the end of Washington Street to the park. So, you talked about the railroad property. This is where the railroad ran, and then there was a trestle there and they took the trestle down and it created some lakefront property, and the property went to actually my neighbor on Washington Street. And then at some point decades ago, my neighbor split his lakefront and literally gave it to the owner of the time, at that time, of my house. And so you can see it on the map, right? Is anybody confused as to what I'm talking about? Okay. So the house is had four, I think I'm the fourth owner since that time. And the last four owners have all bought and sold those. Well, I haven't sold it, but they bought that property with, as a unit. In my mind, the property, they just kind of go together. If you look on the map toward the park, which would be to the right, you'll see there's two properties, two additional homes there that have lakefront that cross the walking path, the cross and the green. And they have in the past already found a way to combine that lakefront on the other side of the path to their lot. In fact, I was talking with my neighbor, Dr. Kraus, and he told me he had 7 different lots as part of his property. They do want to combine, and as a function of the railroad used to run 30 feet from his house. I think there's a benefit to both of us in combining this. It's one of the most photographed spots on the lake. My wife and I call it the selfie spot. When you're on that walking path and it makes the turn, it's a beautiful view of the lake over that little patch lakefront there. And for me, I want to do it for obvious reasons, right? I can save on my taxes. I can get a homestead exemption on that part. I don't have that today, but it also kind of more pressing to me is estate planning purposes. I want these two things to come together. It's a non-conforming lot on the lake. So once it's combined, it can't be separated back out and sold separately. And I've got a daughter, but I also have 3 knucklehead sons. Who knows what they would do right down the line. So I'd like to take away that option. And I know my neighbors would appreciate avoiding the parking hassles and maybe noisy neighbors, that if that lot was sold to some remote people that would come down to the lake and, use it for boating and partying along the lake. What I think is in it for the town is that my property, as you can see that where the home is, already has a detached garage. And so if you put these 2 properties together and form one lot, then the accessory structure is already there, right? You get 1 accessory structure per lot. So that would prohibit anything ever getting built on that lakefront lot, any kind of accessory structure, and keep that view nice and open for the people that walk along the path, which I think would be beneficial to the town. So that's my ask for you to consider, and I'm happy to go and survey it. But I wanted to get a sense from you as to, did it look like something that made sense to you too?
This property, though, if I remember right, it's actually separated by the road, the street, as well as the property.
Yeah, Washington Street,
West, east.
Washington Street runs out in front of the house.
Right.
You can see where the neighbors. This is where Washington Street ends, right at the end of my house, right? So this is my sidewalk here, and then I'm actually cutting across my neighbor's driveway to get to my property.
This property here, it's hard to walk across the trail or whatever you want to call it. To here, right?
Right, yeah. So, I mean, theoretically, what I do is I walk to the right of way, right? And I just follow the right of way to my property. So it's separated by the same right of way.
Yeah.
Whether it's Washington Street or the walking path, it's still on the right of way. Yeah.
Roughly how big is?
It's 57 feet of lakefront and 85 feet from the back at its longest,
Okay,
so longest length. Fairly small.
not tiny.
I mean, there's just a street separated, it'd be a simple answer, but since it's not, I really can't give you an answer as far as thinking.
What is there separating it besides the street?
The neighbor's property. The way looks like it's laid out. Is the street ends before your neighbor's property, but it looks like it's crossing over your neighbor's property to connect.
I mean,
But if I drew the,
Oh, we've been out there, I mean,
The,
walk more.
the walking path, right?
Yeah.
If I do, then what I'm doing is just simply following the right of way.
Yeah, essentially, it's just across the right of way, just like what we just did across the road. It's the same thing.
According to the survey, I mean,
That's-
there's a point of this right, actually a jog, point of this right.
It's that weird jog.
you know, part of the property lines are only gonna be two.
You can say not having your properties attached is weird too.
Like you would.
It's just.
On the right
side,
side between it.
You know, left side.
It's, oh, yeah, like I say, it's not odd, but
Well, that's right. I mean, that's why I'm asking, because I don't know if there's any, you could say, I have to cross. That it's crossing my neighbor's property.
that I don't.
What it's really doing is the two properties are connected by that same right of way.
Right. I think
That's all we were thinking is, or at least the way I'm looking at it is I kind of see where Barry's coming from when you do have it
Right,
surveyed, having it surveyed to show us how the lines connect, because we're fine. I like the idea of, and unfortunately, the railroad and a lot of things in this town cut properties in twain.
Yeah.
And so connecting the two and putting them together, I like the idea of. I just want to make sure whoever's surveying it comes back to us with a little bit clearer of we're not just jumping properties.
Fair enough. A reason to get this through.
I think surveying probably be your best shot.
Okay.
Not saying it's gonna alleviate everything, but
But
yeah.
it's definitely clarified.
All right. Any other thoughts? It's your time, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you. Thanks, Marty. Yeah.
Well, I just assume you guys are, following along on the CRC meetings or these town public, engagement sessions and stuff like that. That's on me. I'll shoot you guys out a bunch of stuff, all right? Probably more than you want.
Is this on the news, tab on the Culver homepage?
Yeah.
So it's already all.
Everything's up there. Yeah, you can find it online, but still, there's some things that aren't online that you guys should know about. Yeah. So. What we're working on, right?
Thanks, Mark.
We don't put it online until it's officially, right? But the stuff we're working on, we don't put it online yet. And I can share that stuff with you, okay?
Anything up and certainly, but
Just real quick, Barry, because there's a lot of people that don't understand. I've been pushing the 2 mile boundary thing forever. And I understand what you're talking about with the dividing the property, but we started from a point that was nowhere near 2 miles. So like right now, our town border basically is right around where 10 and 17 meet. That's where we are in the north side for annexed property. The 2 mile limit, if we took in 2 miles, goes to the railroad track at Burr Oak. Right now, we don't go anywhere near that far out.
No.
So we are not anywhere near in any direction other than on the south side of the lake, looking at what we could take as our 2 mile limit that we are allowed to.
Yeah.
So
And-
I don't have a problem with, well, I do have a problem because I think it's ridiculous that GIS can't figure that out. But if we want to go with that and we just keep it in Holt properties, I understand that. But I don't want people to think we're anywhere close to where we could be.
Right.
And the idea is to protect the town.
yeah. And I know it took quite a bit of discussion between the county and Culver at the time that we did that too, if you remember, because it was push and shove on. where we
There
could
was,
actually get-
but I don't think we had anybody on our side that was advocating for it. It was during Russ was here and Russ was not pushing for it. And I think if we were to push for it, we have a reasonable case to be made.
We own farm ground outside of Culver, and so we were, I was too young probably back when it was happening, but from the discussions I've heard, is there was supposed to be a 50%. If your farm ground was 50% inside town limits, you were given the option if you wanted to join town limits, whereas some people were just annexed straight away.
And it's not annexing,
Period.
it's bringing you into the zoning boundary, not annexation.
Yeah.
And what they did is where the line was, which was fairly random at that time, they basically looked at each property and said, like you said, if it was 50%, the property owner got a choice. If it was more than 50% one way or the other, it just went whichever way the maximum was.
Yeah.
And one of the things that was done at that time to kind of ease the concerns of the farm community was Culver created an ag district, basically mimicked the county's ag district. So that was done so that it was not anything different for being in town. But
Or being in the zone.
we're being in our zoning area. So it doesn't change your taxes. It doesn't do anything like that.
Does make you have to come to the town if you.
As opposed to coming to the county.
Oh, yeah.
You have to go to some place to get those things answered.
Yeah, but the town's gonna be a little bit different about putting in a septic or a lagoon for a pig farm than.
Well,
I'm not sure if that's true anymore, but yes, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was part of the argument, but I don't think we should just ignore the question. It should be pursued a little bit and make some
I
decisions.
agree. I think it is something we should definitely look at. I mean, if we're not, like say, I know going to the north, we're probably half a mile most from someplace. And you're going for a 2 mile and half miles and 1/4 what you're allowed, that you're giving up. We're giving up. But so I think it does need to be looked at.
Well, I think Culver's in the process. Yeah, Culver's doing much better with their planning right now than the county's doing. The county hasn't updated their comprehensive plan and it's much older than Culver's. So we're doing some forward thinking and there's some reasons we should look at doing that.
Then, so what is the firm border of Culver then right now? Cause like most of us we found out recently was currently.
Right there.
That is. Zip.
Yeah, it's,
And
and
you'll
you're
see where-
talking about two different things. You're talking about what's annexed, which is actually part of the town and.
And that's where
town
the 2
taxes.
miles.
And then the 2 mile zoning
2
boundary
miles.
goes on out from there.
Miles on out.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If it's officially annexed part of Culver, that's your start point, 2 miles.
Yes,
That's all I was asking.
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cause like.
So you
we
would
are
look
on the
at,
property.
that's why you would look at, we are actually annexed basically to 10.
Mhm.
Right.
And so then it goes 2 miles out from there. And if you drive it from the intersection, that's pretty much the railroad tracks of Burrow.
Well, it's just because we have got that property out there on Thorn. And that's that Thorn? Right
Yeah,
there?
right to the corner
Yeah,
where the gas station was coming down.
yeah. And so that's 2 miles from that.
Correct.
It should, but I mean, the zoning line is agreed right now between Marsh County and Culver. It has to be established.
And it would have to be an agreement between, the county has to allow you to do
Do
this.
that.
But in most cases, in most communities, they would want to do that
Mhm.
just because it takes it off their plate. They don't have to have all the BZA hearings and the stuff to do it. But it affects the town more. If it's in that 2 mile zone, it could radically affect what the town's doing. Like if you said, maybe the town doesn't want that hog producing thing and we need to talk about that because that's a big deal.
I think that the point that Kevin makes is one that I agree with is, we want to control our own things, not depend on if it's simply across the road
Right.
on the county acting in our best interest.
Right.
So.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody online? If not, entertain a motion. to adjourn.
Do we go, any of the member concern?
Oh, remember, yeah, I went to that. Nobody had anything, but we'll go again.
No, okay, let's make sure.
Going once, going twice.
I don't move that when I.
Second.
Citizens.
Got
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody ever oppose?
The meeting?
If you're not gonna use it, I do, I'll repurpose them again.
Yeah.
Give you everything. Save the taxpayers money.
And I know you have a section system that